once the lights go down and that smoke goes up, it's something that I'll never really be able to explain. The way we are, somebody's Christmas gift, somebody's birthday gift.
Welcome to A Gallen of Questions. My name is Pat Gallen, and our next guest is a Philly basketball legend who's played for the Harlem Globetrotters, now going on almost 10 years. Went to Gwynedd Mercy University, was a 4-year starter there, put up 1,300 career points, and he's now the new head coach at his alma mater. Darnell Speedy Artis is with us. Darnell, man, it's good to see you.
Good to see you,
It's been a little while.
For sure.
It's been a while.
Sure.
We did some stuff on the morning show here at CBS way back when. But congratulations on all the success.
Thank you.
And congratulations on the new gig, which we will get to. But I want to start, obviously, with the Globetrotters thing, because it's not every day you get to hang with a Globetrotter. So that's pretty amazing. So, they've been around forever. It'll be the 100th year coming up in 2026. You've traveled to I'm guessing 100 different countries. It's it's a cultural staple, cultural phenomenon. Wilt Chamberlain was a Harlem Globetrotter. So, how did that happen?
I mean, it happened because my head coach, who was my head coach at Gwynedd Mercy, Coach John Barron, he had created a really strong relationship with the Harlem Globetrotters organization, because Darnell Conte, who was the point guard before I took over, he actually became a Washington General. And Eric Nemeth and Coach Barron, they're friends from down the shore, good buddies. And Eric Nemeth was working with the Globetrotters. Yeah. And he had told Eric one day, Eric had said, we love Dan. He's great. Dan was a great shooter, so he's making fours. And he's like, do you have anybody else for it? And Coach Barron told him, probably when I was a sophomore or junior, that, I think I'm going to actually have your first Globetrotter, not a general. And, if I don't go overseas. And I didn't right away. I ended up going overseas in between my first and second Globetrotter season.
Sure.
But, I went up for a tryout in Wildwood and made the team. And, I've been a part of them ever since. I was a part of the team for 9 years.
The rest is history. So now it's if you go back, it would be 10 years, and it's the 100th year, which is absolutely incredible. So where has this thing taken you? I'm sure you've been all over the world by now.
I've been to over 40 countries. I think I've been to 43 countries.
Okay.
Exactly. I've been to I say it all the time, all the things that my 8-year-old self got to see in a book that I was like, wow, that looks cool. I've seen it in real life. The Eiffel Tower. I saw the pyramids in Egypt this year, the Sphinx. And probably the thing that I was hypest about to see, for my 8-year-old self, was last year when I was in Italy. It was and I had been in Italy 4 or 5 times to this point, but it was the first time I was within 1 hour from the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And my younger self always would call it the Leaning Tower of Pizza.
Of course.
Something that I saw on the show.
Yeah.
And so I was doing everything in my power to get there. And I got there, had me a slice of pizza there, did a really cool video for my summer league there. Sure. And that was really cool.
That's amazing. But I've got to think that despite being to 40-plus countries, getting to see all this incredible stuff, that, life on the road is a grind, man, because you're doing this for months at a time. Take us through, what that's like.
It's kind of different. It varies, in your age bracket of, years on the team.
Sure.
When I was in my younger years, I would only tour for the season itself, which usually starts on Christmas Day every year.
Okay.
And we would go from Christmas Day until, around April or May. But, as you get older, as you become more important, gain more responsibility, I was, fortunate enough and blessed enough to do in the organization, I feel like I did everything you can do here.
Yeah.
And I became a showman. I was, one of our lead ambassadors.
Mm-hmm.
So there would be times when I would do the tour, and, before the tour, I would be doing PR. So I would, fly to Europe for a month and a half and just do straight PR. And, or the way I even started becoming a more important player in the organization was my first run when I met you when I was doing the Philly PR.
Yeah.
To that point, I still wasn't, one of the full-time guys. So I was free when that PR was needed. I did great. And then from there on out, I kind of just continued to grow. And, 2022, I toured for 10 months. 2023, I toured for 9.5 months. And there's some, so some people have that type of responsibility where you're torn, and, that's adding up, not just the season itself, but I'll work for 2 months from August to September, or I'll go do PR from September to October.
Sure.
So, and then I also count in those days where, you know, I might fly. Last year I flew to Italy for 4 days to do the World Food Day. That was really cool to be a part of that at the United Nations, headquarters. So, you know, as the older you get, the more responsibility you get, the more you move around.
We were joking about this. Like, what do your airline miles look like? About 1 billion of them?
Yeah, they fly me. Sometimes they fly me for free for my vacation, so that's kind of cool.
You've probably done 1,000 shows, but does it still give you the same feeling when you walk out there in front of thousands of people and do that stuff? Once
the lights go down and that smoke goes up, it's something that I'll never really be able to explain. The way we are, you know, somebody's Christmas gift, somebody's birthday gift, it's something that I really take pride in every single day. You know, you never know who's seeing their first Globetrotter game, and then we've had people come up and tell us this is the last thing they're going to get to do with their family. And moments like that, and you just put it all in perspective, and you go out there and you make it the best hour and a half that anybody's ever seen, you know. And I still, you know, every single game is still special to me. Every single game.
So pretty incredible run you've been on. But let's talk about you coming back home, because you are the Are you the COO or the CEO?
I'm the CEO.
You're the CEO.
My brother's the COO.
Okay, got them mixed up. Of the Lonnie Young Summer League basketball. It's grown exponentially since you guys started it, but take us back to the roots of why it began.
So I started it back in 2018. On tour, you have a lot of time, and I'm just sitting around in my room thinking, doodling things on notepads, and I kind of came up with the Summer League, and a part of it was that kind of when I was becoming a player that's known in the city, I was going all over the city, playing in North, South, West Philly, you know, at 27 McClearfield, at the Pit, you know, here and there, 20th in Ontario, and I was kind of making a name for myself. And I was like, this is all really fun, and it's really cool, but I want to do something like this in my neighborhood because I know we can.
Sure.
And we just started it off, you know, with 12 teams. You know, we got regular cotton T-shirts, and it was just fun for the neighborhood. And at that point, I had played at, you know, Staples Center, Madison Square Garden, you know, the Boston Garden, or TD Garden. And, you know, I was like, there's nothing like playing at home. And that's when I started calling it the best arena in the world, way back then. So it's like, it always was the best arena in the world for me because it was home. And then just over time, it's grown. So, you know, giving it little improvements like putting the logo on the ground and, you know, hanging up sponsorship banners. When we first did it, we just hung up all our banners to just give it that look.
Sure, yeah.
And, you know, that made people kind of interested. And it's grown ever since then, you know, through my network, through the network of my team. You know, I run it with my best friends and my brother. So, you know, we all have a wide network. You know, my brother's a rocket scientist. My best friend's a teacher, dean of students. And
wait, like literally rockets?
Oh, yeah, my younger brother's a rocket scientist.
Like, what does he do?
He's a engineer and aerospace. I think I'm saying that right. Or aerospace engineer.
Aerospace engineer.
Yeah.
Who's he work for? That's insane.
I think he works for Lockheed Martin.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, he's been doing that for...
Smart guy.
He's the smartest person I know.
That's amazing.
He's literally the smartest person I know.
That's
so
awesome.
It's been really cool to, you know, our networks are really, really huge. So, you know, having this different reach, we've been able to reach a lot of people. And we went from having, at our championship game, I don't know, 55 to 100 people there in year one. And now you can't come into our park. Like, you know, we literally have to figure out how we're going to regulate it going forward. There's well over 1,000 people trying to fit into our park that probably holds maybe 600 people.
What do you think you've learned? Because, as you said, this was an idea that was sparked on the road, you know, just doodling on a piece of paper. But what do you think you've learned about yourself in helping to create this and grow this product?
I've learned that I have I already thought I had a great sense of poise, but this has really taught me that I have a really, like, special sense of poise, you know, not to, like, I guess, talk it up too much. But
please do. Know, the camera's right here.
I do think it showed me my extreme sense of poise because, you know, it's an outdoor league. So you have the rain. You have sometimes the lights don't work the way they're supposed to. Sometimes something needs to be fixed and the city can't quite get right to it, you know. You have so many uncontrollables, and I feel like every time it happens, you know, everybody's kind of like, how you feeling or what's happening? I'm just like, everybody just
you're the voice of reason.
It's all going to work out,
chaos.
and I think that it's kind of rubbed off on my team a bit. I see our poise as a unit grown, and having them too helps me stay poised. I know that I'm never really in it alone.
We got you said 1,000+ people are coming out to these games. What sort of level of basketball are we talking about here? Who's coming through in these leagues?
I mean, it's high level basketball. I mean, right now we have. I can't even say her name as many pros that plays in our leagues. We got Sam Sessoms plays in our league, Miles Carter. Those are some guys that are overseas, right? Yazid Powell, Jameer Williams. Last year our opening night featured Quade Green, Sam Sessoms, Jameer Williams, Kobe Thomas, just to name a few, Zid Powell. And all of these guys are names They all have tremendous high school careers here in the city. Yep. They've had tremendous college careers. They're having great professional careers, some of them. And it's just like having that level of basketball helps the environment and makes people come out even more. And it's free. It's like, you get stars coming out to watch the games. Like, Lamar Stevens plays in the NBA. Justin Edwards, Sixer.
Yeah.
He played in our league as a kid when he was 14. And, having him come support, we had, Tierra Whack and Core and, these entertainers, they all come out to our league because they're from our community.
Sure.
So they support our community. So it's hope to grow. And I love how high of a level the basketball is. It makes it what it is. Like when everybody comes out there and they're looking for Man Robert Smith, from Delaware State, they know it's going to be a show.
Yeah.
They know they're not just coming out there to watch people just shoot a bunch of bricks. Like they're coming to watch high level basketball. And I think that's what makes our league special.
You've accumulated now years of basketball knowledge. You've traveled the globe. You've seen it all. Now you get to bring that home to your alma mater, where you're the new head coach, Gwynedd Mercy University. So you started the school. Now you're the head coach.
Yeah.
How did this come about? How'd you get the gig?
I really had to. I applied, and I was persistent. And after my application, follow up emails, all of the things that I've learned being a CEO,
sure.
that are important. Follow up emails, things like that. And I got a call from the AD, that I was gonna get an interview opportunity, and from there I just got super prepared for the interview. Talking with Coach Barron, who, he was my college coach.
Yeah.
10 years ago now, but he's still my everyday coach of life. Like I talk to Coach Barron all the time. Anytime I'm making a major life decision, I'm talking with him, talking with my parents. And, he helped me get prepared for my interview, helped me understand the things that, I do know, and then telling me, always honest with me about the things that I don't know.
Sure.
And telling me, it's going to be some stiff competition to go get that job. And if I want it, they're not going to give it to me. I'm going to have to go in there prepared and show them that, I can do this job at a high level. And that's what I did. I went to my interview with confidence. I was confident all the way leading up to it. Anytime anybody asked me about it, I told them that I'm getting this job, and I just felt God working through me every single day.
Why was now the right time? Because you've been on the road for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that, look, we talked about this before the show, like, we can complain if we want, but you were in a really great position with the Globetrotters.
Yeah.
But what, is it just time to come home, settle down a little bit, get off the road for a while?
That part of it is, just wanting to be home, be more stable, be more intentional with how I move with my family. I'm hoping to raise my godchildren whose fathers passed away. My cousin passed away in 2022. My best friend passed away in 2021. Then my best friend passed away in 2022. And their kids were my god kids. So being more intentional as they're growing up, none of them are older than 12 years old. So
sure.
They're all in a very crucial state of their development, and being able to be hands-on with them every day. And, I just want to be, I've been saying it for a few months, and, God works at perfect timing. Like, I've been saying for a while now, I don't wake up every day trying to be the best possible basketball player I can be anymore. It's not even really what gets me going or ticks me anymore. And I was saying that for a few months now. And when Coach Barron called me and told me that he was taking a job at Holy Family and he thought that, I should apply,
sure,
it just felt like perfect timing. And, I've been a coach for a few years now. I coached at West Catholic for the last few years where, we've been able to do some special things, win the first state championship in school history, and we won 2 of them.
Yeah.
The first city championship since 1959, we won 2 of them. being like Coach Bolks, one of his right-hand man and confidants, and getting that experience. I spent some time with Coach Barron on his staff when I first graduated, having that experience too. And I just always have loved coaching. I've always been called a coach on the floor, as a sophomore in high school.
Floor general, right?
I won a coach's award as a sophomore in high school. So it's just always been who I am. And like I said, it just feels like God timing. When I'm saying, I can't sit here and just say it was the right time. God really aligned it this way. And, I had plans of being in my 10th year next year.
Yeah.
Plans of being an integral part of a world tour that's going to be the 100th world tour. And to not go do that next year can't just be my decision, because on my brain, that just sounds crazy to not do.
Right.
But you feel me? God has put me in this position for a reason. Gwynedd was really the only school that gave me a chance out of high school.
Sure.
And obviously, I was able to do a lot of great things, all league, all region, win the championship, MVP, and be in the Hall of Fame there. So the opportunity is just perfect. It's just a story that you can't really write or pass up. So
that's amazing. I'm sure you got a lot of work ahead of you, a lot of work to be done to get this thing off the ground, but I know that you'll do a great job. Before we let you go, show's called Gallen of Questions. In this can, there are random questions. We'll try to answer them to the best of our ability before you go. Is that cool?
Okay.
All right, jump in, grab one. We'll see where we can where we start here.
I think I have two right now.
You have two? We'll put one back.
No, that's one.
Just one.
Favorite comedy of all time?
What's your go-to on the road while you're...
Like, as far as like
a movie or show?
My favorite comedy of all time, TV show, is definitely Family Guy. Okay. Family Guy is probably my favorite show of all time.
All right.
And then like my favorite like movie or stand-up is the Kings of the original Kings of Comedy.
With that Bernie Mac?
That's my Bernie Mac is my favorite of that set.
That's awesome. What's one thing still on your bucket list that you didn't get to? There can't be many left on that list, man. Not after that.
One thing still on my bucket list, I still haven't been to Greece or Dubai.
Okay.
So those are two places that I'm definitely going to get to sooner than later.
Use those the airline miles, my friend. You got them ready. Favorite move or trick that you do with the Globetrotters? What's your go-to?
It's definitely the iconic ball spin.
The ball spin?
I couldn't do it. It's the most iconic trick we have.
All right. We can cruise through these. We got a little time. Favorite flavor of Gatorade?
Favorite flavor of Gatorade is the white Gatorade. I think it's like Cherry Blast or something.
Cherry Blast. I'm pretty boring. I just like the orange. It's pretty lame. It's terrible. Thanks to our intern, Owen, by the way, who came up with a couple of these questions. If you could only listen to one music artist for the rest of your life, who would that be? Only one.
I'm sorry, Wauer, but it would have to be Jay-Z. You just have more music.
Fair enough. Yeah, larger catalog, right?
Yeah.
What's your go-to gas station snack? Say you're running in there real quick. You're like, I gotta grab something.
I'm gonna get a slushie.
A slushie?
Icy.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I like that. Basketball player you idolized growing up?
Allen Iverson.
Yeah, I had a feeling it. Just like we're all in a certain age group that like everybody grew up watching AI.
Come on now, AI. I mean, I got the Only the Strong Survive tattoo.
Nice.
Everything like that was. I used to have braids, believe it or not, pretty long braids. So that was
craft your game a little bit after
everything.
him?
I mean, I'm the smallest player on the court,
right?
And something that I took from him as an 8-year-old kid that I implemented for the rest of my life was he played every game like it's his last.
Yeah.
He said that on a DVD called The Answer. I watch that thing every single day, but I'm never going to forget.
You're showing your age when you see watching a DVD, right?
DVD, right?
They don't make them like they used to. Who's your favorite underrated athlete of all time? So maybe not like a star player, but who'd you grow up watching? Or
my favorite underrated athlete of all time, I feel like he gets credit, but I don't think he gets enough credit, especially like in all-time rankings, but Rajon Rondo.
Okay, that's a good one.
Rajon Rondo.
That was a floor general right there.
Rajon Rondo is a point guard that controls the game in so many ways. He was the smartest player on the floor 99% of the time. I loved Rajon Rondo.
That's a great answer. Fantastic. Still was like not quite, he had some star years, but like sort of flying under the radar.
And that's why I said I feel like he gets enough credit, but just not. He don't get enough credit for me for how important he was.
Most memorable sports moment, playing or watching? You got a lot of memorable moments.
A lot of memorable moments. I can't lie. Probably the one that's probably going to be the most memorable to me has to probably be. It's probably a tie. I can't lie. Walking off the court after we won the championship in college because we lost for 3 years. I had a crazy summer that summer where coming into that year where I was not going to be denied.
I like that.
And then coming back out of COVID, our first year back in Lonnie Young Summer League, I hit a game-winning, and one pull-up to win the championship in Game 3.
That's sick.
So that was pretty cool in my park. Obviously, it's my league, and it was a huge shot. It was a little controversy behind it. Was it an N1 continuation or not? But it counted as an N1, and it's one of my favorite moments ever.
Last one. If you could go back and play any sport besides basketball, what would it be?
Everybody knows. If you don't know, I was a baseball player.
Were you?
I wasn't even I was not a basketball player. Baseball was my best sport by far.
No way.
My dad was so sad when I stopped playing around 14 or so, 15. But, I was just I was just a natural. I always say I was not a natural basketball player.
Really?
I had to really work.
And yet you became
to
a
get good. I had to really work. Even now, I say it all the time. If I go a week and a half without shooting, you can see it.
Yeah.
But I shoot the ball so much and work on it so much that I became good. But I was a natural baseball player.
Why don't we call up the Savannah Bananas, right? That's the corollary. Darnell, Speedy, Artis, good luck with the new gig, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Good
Thank
to see
you.
you.
Looking forward to it.